everybody, it's Joe from Britical Saiyans here, and today I'm going to be showing you my Vegeks deck profile. So to start with, we're going to the leader. So permanent, you can only play mono black battle cards, which is fine because the entire deck is just mono black. So it has the active main of once per turn you can burst 5 to draw a card. And then his awaken is, if your life is at 4 or less, or you have 20 or more cards in your drop area, you do a 1-1, and then you bring your life down 6 if you're going for the 20 cards in the drop. I've not really done that myself, but that's just because turn 2 is an overround play. So, anyway. So we're going to Vegeks, Young Sung Fusion Hero. So again, you can only play mono black battle cards. He gets another permanent, which is Sparking 20. If you would lose a game by running out of cards in your deck, you shuffle your drop area into your deck instead. So as long as you have 20 cards in your drop area, you can't deck out, which is pretty nice because the deck does mill. It's got active main once per turn. You draw a card, mill top 5, and then you choose one of your black unison cards that gains double strike for the turn. So just adds a bit of pressure on your double striker, and you get to draw before you mill, which is nice because sometimes it's better. So go into the deck now, and we'll start with the unison cards. So we have 4 copies of Super Saiyan Gotenks Fusion of Friendship. It's the only unison I've run in the deck at the moment because it's the only one worth running. So its auto is, if you lead a card as a black Saiyan card, when this card is placed in your drop area from your deck by a skill and you don't have a unison card in play, you may play this card from your drop area with a marker on it. So you can play it for free with 1 marker, or you can just pay as many energies as you want and play them out from your hand, because with it being black it doesn't have a specified cost, so you can just pay as much as you feel like. So his first active main is you +2, choose a card from your hand, discard it, and he gains 10k for the turn. And then you can -4 to do active main, it just gains 20k and dual attack for the turn. So you either gain 10k and discarding card, or you gain 20k and dual attack, but you -4, so you have to time it. Because obviously, if you run out of markers, you use some dice, so there's no point doing it when you run 4. So next, we'll go into the extra cards, and to start with, we have 3 copies of a Kraken Space Time. So this is active battle. The leader is a black Saiyan card. It gains 15k power and double strike for the battle. So it just adds a lot of pressure from your leader attacking, because obviously when you're on your awake side, you'll go to 30k with double. So if your opponent doesn't negate your leader, they're going to regret it, which is the idea. Next we have 2 copies of an Unexpected Turn. So counterplay, if your opponent has 3 or more battle cards in play with an energy cost of 2 or more, the battle card your opponent is playing is placed in the owner's drop area instead. Then choose all battle cards with an energy cost of 2 or less, ignoring barrier, and send them to their owner's warps. So just put this in as a bit of a board clearer, and if our stuff, like anything in this deck goes into the warp, it's not really a huge issue because most of it comes out, and anything 2 or less is either super combo or that, which doesn't matter if you lose it, but it can be very hurtful depending on what your opponent plays. So yeah. Next we have 2 copies of Petrification. So it's a counter attack of, if your leader is black, you negate the attack, then you choose a card from your hand, place it in your, well, you may choose a card from your hand, place it in the drop. If you place a card in your drop area, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. It can't attack, can't be placed in your opponent's combo area, or activate its skills until the end of your next turn. So basically turns a card into a vanilla for the turn and stops it from attacking, which is pretty good. So it's a nice little stall if you need it. And our other negate in the deck is 3 copies of Power Burst, which is a classic for black. So if your leader is black, negate the attack. Then choose one of your black battle cards from your drop or warp, and range cost of 1, and add to your hand. So in this deck, you just get that back. And then it has permanent Sparking 5, in which you can take a life to activate it, which is very easy to do in this deck because you mill 5 just by using your leader card. So if you don't have Sparking, you can just activate your leader, and there you go. No problemo. And finally, the extra cards, we have 3 copies of Demonic Absorption. So its permanent is you can activate this card's active battle without paying its cost. And it has the active main of, if your leader is black, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and send it to the owner's warp. So obviously very useful. It doesn't have an energy restriction, it is just pay free, get rid of whatever you want. So very good at getting rid of anything that you can't beat over, or it's got like barrier so you can't target it with your own effects. Just like, okay, pay free, it's gone. And then its active battle is choose up to one of your leader or battle cards and against 5k power for duration of battle. So it just counts as a 5k combo basically, which you don't have to pay free energy for, because that would hurt. So going into the battle cards now, I will start with our 1-drop. So we have 3 copies of Supreme Kai of Time, Guardian of Space-Time. Don't know where I was going with the name for a moment there. So she has 2 autos. The first being, if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, when this card is used in the combo, it gains 5k combo power for the battle. So it's a free 10k combo as long as you have 5 or less in your hand, which is really useful. And then its auto is, if your leader is a black same card, when this card is placed in your drop area from your deck by a skill, you may play it from your drop area. So if you mill it, you bring it onto the board. Which yeah, it's really useful because then you can just kind of pile these up and then combo them off when you need to. So that's all she's in for. It's one of those things you could take out. I just like having it in just because it's a 10k combo if my hand's running low. So next we got our 2 costs, and they are the super combos for the deck. So we have 2 copies of Bividi, Primeval Conjurer, and 2 copies of Temporal Rescue Trunks. So Bividi is, if all your energy is black, when you combo with this card from your hand, it gains plus 1k combo power for duration of turn for each card in your drop and warp. So it does start off with 3k, unlike Trunks here, but it can just gain 1k for everything you've warped and dropped, which this deck I think is like 55 cards or so. I definitely put it over 50, so you can gain a lot of power from this, especially since you're milling, so that number ramps up quicker. And Trunks is a Sparking super combo, so Sparking 5, when you combo, if you lead black you draw a card. Other than that, it's just a 10k combo, but again, it's useful. And the best part about it is, since it's Xeno Trunks, it means we can do our Union Praetora with it if we so choose to. So next, we go into our 3 drops, or 3 costs. They make up a good half of the deck. And to start with, we've got 3 copies of Black Mass Saiyan the Devastator. So, say 3-drop 19k of critical, and during your turn, if your leader is black and there is a total of 15 or more Saiyan cards in your and your opponent's drop areas, when this card's attack is negated, or when this card fails to damage your opponent in battle with their leader card, choose up to one of your opponent's life and send it to their warp. So this guy is basically how you're supposed to kind of close out game in most versions of this deck, and kind of the same in this one, but I've not focused on it as much because it's kind of dirty and I want to actually play Vegeks. I don't want to just be like, oh look, a bunch of Saiyans, here we go, we're good. But the main advantage of this guy is that after once you put your opponent to 1 life, they're kind of screwed because they either take the damage as crit or they stop your attack and send it to the warp. So it's just an instant kill from that point. And so the idea is you just kind of play them out when you can do that sort of stuff and force your opponent to just lose. There's no way around it unless you lose all your drop area. So do time it. Next we have 2 copies of Deborah Darkness Perfected. So it has counterplay of you play them out. Its permanent is if all your energy is black, you can reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand and drop by 1. And then its auto is during your opponent's turn. When you play this card, choose which one of your opponent's battle cards and it can't attack or activate its skills for the duration of turn. So it's in here as our other counterplay for the deck. Gives us another nice 15k body on the board, and obviously it's a pressure unit which then just kind of makes something into a vanilla for the turn, which is really nifty. So next we have 4 copies of Time Agent Trunks. So he's quite a wordy one. He's got unique blocker, then he's got 2 autos. So the first is when this card is played, you add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. And its secondary auto is if you lead as a black Saiyan card, when this card is placed in your drop area from your deck by a skill, you may play this card from your drop. So if you mill it from your leader, you then play it out. Obviously it has unique, so you can only play 1 at a time. But then you get Trunks on the board, a bit of Self-Awakening, and then you have a blocker if you need it. If not, oh well. You can still use it going to Pretoras, which is the main thing. Next we have 3 copies of Trunks Elite Descendant. So it's got 15k, overrun free by paying 1, and its auto is when this card is played using overrun, you play up to 1 Vegeta Xeno card with energy cost free from your deck in rest mode, then shuffle your deck. So I will explain its partner card now because that's the next card. So we have 4 copies of Vegeta Demonstration of Might. He also has 15k in overrun free, but you don't have to pay for his overrun, not that you're going to anyway. And then its active main is you choose this card and 1 of your black back cards with energy cost 3 or less, send them to the warp and draw a card. So your ideal play is you play the Trunks out, you get the Vegeta from your deck, swing the Trunks, and then you send them both off with Vegeta to draw a card. And that's why I kind of have the split as well, because the Vegeta needs to be in the deck, and because we're milling, having a higher number means that it's more likely to be there. And in all honesty, once you've played 1 Trunks, you don't really need the others. It's just there, so that you have more and a better chance seeing it. But I always find that I only play the 1 combo of this out, and then after that I'm basically set for the rest of the game. And I'd only do it again once I reset my deck, so if I need to. Next we got our 4 drop for the deck, which is 4 copies of Time Agent Vegeta. So you got 19k unique. Permanent, if this card would be removed from your battle area, it's sent to the owner's warp instead. And then its auto is if your leader is a black Saiyan card, when this card is placed in your drop area from your deck by a skill, play it from drop. So he just has the mill play effect. And then he has active battle once per turn. You pay 2, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an edge cost of 3 or less, and send to the owner's warp. So you can nice just go swing, get rid of something, or when something else attacks you can just pay 2, get rid of something. So just a nice bit of pressure here. And it's Vegeta Xeno, which can play itself out for free instead of the hard 4, which is very nice. Next we've got our 5 drop for the deck, which is my own personal spin, which is 4 copies of Absolute Space Super Saiyan 3 Trunks. So it's got 25k power. Xeno evolve for 5 energy onto a Trunks Xeno. So you pay 5, you play this in active mode and send the trunks into the warp. He has triple strike, and its auto is when a card evolves into this card, you draw one, choose one of your energy switch to active, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to their warp. So I purely have this in here as an alternative win con. Well, one of them, because like primarily you want to win with this guy just because it's Vegeks. You've got Devastator, and then if you kind of want to put some more pressure on, or you need the triple strike to get them dead, you can just use one of your Trunkses to go into this guy. And because it's Xeno Evolve, it means you can swing said Trunks before doing anything else. And then he gets himself an energy back, so you're only paying 4, you draw a card, and yeah. It's just my own little tech in. I thought, oh, this might be fun and good to do, because I can also put a Trunks into the warp, and then I can use it to play this guy up. So I can use the same Trunks to play two different cards, which is pretty nifty. Speaking of 6 drop, we have that coming up with 4 copies. So it's Vegeks Space-Time Synthesis. So he has 25k in double strike, Uniprotoi for free by using a Trunks and a Vegeta Xeno. Its opponent is you can choose battle cards in your warp when choosing cards with unison skill from your hand. So hence you want to be running the Vegeta Trunks combo, because you put them in your warp and then you pay free like the following turn and just get this guy out by placing these guys under him, and thus recycling. And then when it's played, you add up to 1 battle card when this costs 4 or less from your warp to your hand. So anything else in there that might have just gone because of Overrealm, you can put back in your hand just to give yourself some more hand, which is useful. And our final card for the deck is 4 copies of the 7 drop Vegeks Burning Impact Unleashed. So he has 30k in double strike, so 5k over this guy. Xeno Evolve onto a Vegeks Xeno when edge costs 6, so again you send that to the warp, place this in active. And then its auto is when this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to the warp. So board clearing, and then just 30k double strike is obviously quite a tank. So very good, and the fact you don't need to pay energy to bring them out makes it even better. So once you've got your 6 drop on board, you swing that, play this, and you're basically good to go. So guys, that is my Vegeks deck profile put in frame. So do let me know what you thought in the comments below, because it was fun to read them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.